This piece is the skirt panel. It goes underneath the front of the car, all around following the curvature of the duct panel, and of course when it's installed the other way around, with this part up and this part down. These bolts here hold the front valance in place on the car. This particular skirt panel that I bought had a couple of flaws. One, its curvature didn't match my duct panel, so I had to do some earlier repairs on that. Secondly, the flange that was given to me here was only about a 1/4 inch. And what I measured inside where it's going to have to be welded was more like 7/8 to an inch. So I wanted a bigger flange, so I cut the flange out of this piece of 18 gauge, even though the part here is 20 gauge, so a little bit thicker piece, and I butt welded it, got the shape just right, and butt welded that into the flange that came with the part, and now I'm going to have a very solid piece when I weld this whole business into the front of the car. It goes in like this. Goes up under here, welds in, the flange fits up under here where my finger is on both sides, and it continues along here because there's a piece that needs to be welded in here that will also be welded to that flange. But the main purpose of that flange is so you can bolt in the valance panel, which hangs down below the car behind the bumper. So I'm very happy with the fact that this butt weld came out extremely strong. And once I clean up the welds, I'm sure that that will weld in very nicely. This is the completed improved flange, butt welded onto the original skirt panel that I got from Scarborough Faire. This one's got a stronger piece here, butt welded into the original, and it will now fit properly and won't leave any holes exposed underneath. Okay, here is how I have mounted the skirt panel that holds the front valance. So I've got it just jammed in position with pieces of wood holding it, and that's a copper strip that you're looking at between the wood and the steel. So we're looking at the underneath of the duct panel right now, and if I just pull myself over here a little bit, you can see that these are the holes that were left from, this is the shroud folded over, and the skirt panel welds up into the bottom of the shroud as it folds over. So there's a fold over part on one side, and then of course when you get in the middle, that's where the grill opening is. There is a piece that's supposed to go down there, but mine was missing. I'm going to have to make a new one and put that in on a second step here. Over on the left side, you can see here, there's the other holes for the other side. So that part is going, those holes are going to be welded up, and that will secure the skirt panel. I'm just going to pull the camera outside to give you and look at it from the front so you can remind you what it looks like and what its purpose is here. You can see the holes for mounting the front valance. You can also see how it mates up with the similar flange that comes down from the bottom of the fender, and similar, there's 3 holes over there also for mounting the front valance. Over on the right side, this is the fender that has the new section. It came to me without the holes and without the weld nuts, which is just as well, because after I get it mounted, the front valance mounted over here, I will then drill holes to match and put the weld nuts in behind over on this side. So next I'm going to weld that in place. Here's the last part of the installation of the skirt panel, which is this item here. Yesterday I welded in, I'll show you from underneath, I welded in the ends of the skirt panel over here, and over on the other side same thing. Now that was a lot of holes because it was the shroud coming down. But over here in the middle of the opening for the grill, there was nothing to weld to. and the bottom of the script panel was just hanging down over here. The normal thing that goes in there is a piece that closes the opening for the grill, which is this piece here that I've made. And it's a square, it's just a piece that follows the contour of the front of the duct panel here, so it's got a curve to it. It folds underneath, so it's hanging down. It welds to the front of the duct panel, and it also welds over to the sides of the shrouds. So it basically completes the front clip. That piece folds underneath like this, and I made it by making first a rectangular piece of the correct distance here. Then I put it in a vise with a big long hunk of steel. It was actually a big steel square, and like you'd get for woodworking, that sort of thing. And I bent it over before I did the curvature. Then I cut slots, as you can see here, in the bottom of the front piece that finishes the script panel. And that allows me then to bend it as I installed it. So I installed it with a bunch of screws in here, which are all going to be welded through. So I've got it held in place firmly all around with screws here, and also screws going up into here into the script panel that was hanging here. And it's going to be an extremely solid result when I'm done. So that's how I made the repair piece. Now I'm going to weld it. Here's the completed front cross piece at the bottom of the opening for the grill. Folds over, finished welds here, folds over and welded to the script panel underneath, and now we have a very solid attached script panel ready to hang the front valance.